What's the most unhinged thing an ex did when they couldn't accept it was over? I've been hiding in my friend Janet's spare bedroom for the past 4 days, and I still flinch every time I hear footsteps in the hallway. I keep the blinds closed 24/7 and sleep with a kitchen knife under my pillow. This wasn't supposed to be my life. It started after I broke off my engagement with Owen 3 months ago. We'd been together for almost 5 years, and the first 3 were actually good. But something changed when he proposed. It was like once he put that ring on my finger, he thought he owned me. The controlling behavior started small. Questioning who I was texting, checking my location, getting upset if I didn't answer his calls immediately. Then came the accusations, the monitoring of my social media, the surprise visits to my workplace. I tried to talk to him about it, but he'd always twist everything around until somehow I was apologizing to him. Classic gaslighting. I know that now. What I didn't mention before is how he would check my phone while I was sleeping. I caught him once, scrolling through my messages at 3 a.m. with this intense look on his face. When I confronted him, he said he was just making sure I wasn't hiding anything, because he loved me too much to lose me. I believed him then. God, I was so blind. When I finally ended things, he seemed to take it surprisingly well. That should have been my first warning sign. Owen never took anything well. He nodded, said he understood, and left without arguing. I remember feeling relieved, thinking maybe this wouldn't be as messy as I feared. For 2 weeks, nothing. Complete silence. No calls, no texts, no showing up at my apartment. I started to relax. Even went on a casual coffee date with a guy from my office. That's when the texts started. At first, just checking in, asking how I was. Then pictures of us together with captions like, "Remember how happy we were?" Then screenshots of the guy from work's Instagram with question marks. Then came the phone calls, dozens per day, hanging up when I answered. He left voicemails too. First sad, then angry, then this terrifying calm. "You'll come back to me eventually," he said in the last one before I blocked him. "We're meant to be together." I've never been more certain of anything. I blocked his number, all his social media. He started emailing me from new addresses. I blocked those too. He left notes on my car. I told my apartment manager, who promised to keep an eye out. I thought I was handling it. Last Friday, I came home from work early because I had a migraine. I unlocked my door, stepped inside, and immediately felt something was wrong. I almost turned around and left, but told myself I was being paranoid. My bedroom door was closed, which was weird because I always leave it open for airflow. When I pushed it open, I literally felt my heart stop. Hanging on the wall above my bed was my wedding dress, the one I'd returned to the boutique months ago. He had somehow gotten it back and had nailed it to my wall. Not hung it, nailed it, with actual framing nails driven through the delicate fabric, puncturing the wall beneath. The dress was spread out like a crucified body, arms extended. He'd torn the bodice open down the middle, making it look destroyed. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst was what he'd done to my bed. Carved into the wooden headboard in jagged, angry letters, "You belong to me, forever and always." Across my sheets were what looked like rose petals at first glance, but as I stepped closer, I realized they were black. Dyed or burned, I couldn't tell. They left dark smudges on my white comforter like bruises. Some of them were arranged to form a heart around my pillow. And what I thought was our old engagement photo on my nightstand wasn't a photo at all. It was a photoshopped picture of my face on a corpse. I was frozen, couldn't move, couldn't breathe. That's when I felt him behind me. I hadn't even heard him come out of my closet. His hands were around my throat before I could scream, squeezing so tight that black spots danced in front of my eyes. He pushed me onto the bed on top of those petals, still strangling me. "If I can't have you, no one will," he hissed, his spit hitting my face. "You think you can just throw away 5 years? You think you can just leave me? I will always find you." I was about to pass out when my neighbor's dog started barking like crazy in the hallway. Owen loosened his grip just enough for me to get one hand free. I keep a can of pepper spray in my pocket after the stalking started. I managed to grab it and spray directly into his eyes. He screamed, let go of my throat, and stumbled backward, hands over his face. "I swear to God, I'll ficking kill you," he screamed. "You're dead, you hear me? Dead." I ran. Didn't grab anything, just ran out of the apartment, down the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. Drove straight to Janet's place, shaking so bad I almost crashed twice. Called the police from her phone. The police took my statement, took photos of the bruises forming on my neck. They went to my apartment, but Owen was gone. The wedding dress was still there, the carved headboard, the sick photo. They took pictures of everything, told me they'd file for an emergency restraining order, but we all know those are just pieces of paper. They're still looking for him. His car was found abandoned near the bus station, but the security cameras show he never went inside. His parents claim they haven't seen him. His friends say the same. Nobody knows where he is. I jump every time my phone buzzes. Janet had to go buy me clothes and toiletries because I'm too scared to go back to my apartment. I've been wearing the same borrowed pajamas for days now. Update. It's been 2 weeks since I last posted. Thank you to everyone who reached out with support and advice. Some of you were right about things I didn't want to hear. I finally left Janet's apartment after staying there for almost a week. She was amazing, but I could tell her boyfriend was getting annoyed having me there 24/7, constantly jumping at every sound and hogging their guest room. Plus, Janet works from home and having to whisper all her client calls because I was having panic attacks in the next room wasn't sustainable. I owe her big time. The police still haven't found Owen. His credit cards haven't been used. His phone is off, and none of his family or friends have heard from him. Or so they claim. The detective assigned to my case, this woman named Hilda who looks perpetually exhausted, told me they've been monitoring his parents' house and his best friend Brody's apartment. But nothing. It's like he vanished. My parents drove down from Indiana as soon as I finally told them what happened. My dad wanted to kill Owen when he saw the pictures of my neck bruises, which had turned this sick yellowish purple by then. My mom just kept crying and asking why I hadn't told them sooner about the controlling behavior. Honestly, because I was embarrassed. Because I felt stupid for not seeing the signs earlier. Because part of me still blamed myself for making Owen snap like that. My parents insisted I couldn't stay at my apartment anymore, which, duh, I wasn't planning to. I had nightmares about that carved headboard for days. They wanted me to come back to Indiana with them, but that would mean giving up my job and basically my whole life here. I've worked too hard building my career to let Owen take that from me too, so we compromised. They helped me find a new apartment in a secure building across town, key fob entry, security cameras, the works. They paid the security deposit and first month's rent even though I told them not to. Dad said it was the only way he could sleep at night. We didn't put my name on the mailbox. I'm technically subletting from the previous tenant on paper, so my name isn't connected to the address in any searchable records. Moving was a whole nightmare in itself. The police had finally released my apartment as a crime scene, but I couldn't bring myself to go back there alone. Janet came with me, along with her brother, who's built like a linebacker, just in case. We brought trash bags for anything I wanted to keep, but honestly, I left almost everything. The furniture, the decorations, most of my clothes. It all felt contaminated somehow. Tainted. Like Owen had touched everything and left some invisible poison behind. I did grab practical stuff. Important documents, my laptop, some clothes, a few sentimental items. But when Janet asked if I wanted the framed photos from the living room, I just shook my head. There he was in so many of them, smiling that smile I used to love. Now all I could see was his face twisted with rage as he choked me. The wedding dress was gone, taken as evidence. But they left the headboard. Who does that? Just leaves the carved threat there? Janet's brother had to unscrew it from the bed frame so we could get it out of there. We took it to an empty lot and literally set it on fire. Watching those words burn was the first moment I felt anything close to okay since this all started. My new place is sparse but safe. I've been sleeping on an air mattress because I can't bring myself to buy a real bed yet. My parents offered to stay a few more days, but I told them I needed to start figuring out how to live normally again. That was a lie. Nothing feels normal. I shower with the bathroom door open so I can see if anyone comes in. I check under my bed every night. The worst part is the waiting. Waiting for Owen to be found. Waiting to feel safe again. Waiting for the other shoe to drop because deep down, I know he's not done with me. Then I was grocery shopping. First time I'd gone alone since everything went down. I felt it. That prickling sensation on the back of my neck. Someone watching me. I turned around slowly, my heart hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. Nothing. No one. Just a mom with a toddler looking at granola bars. I told myself I was being paranoid, that therapy was supposed to help with this exact thing. I turned back to grab a box of Cheerios and nearly screamed. There was a small gift bag sitting in my cart, bright red with white tissue paper poking out the top. It wasn't there when I walked into the aisle. I swear to God it wasn't. I backed away from the cart, bumping into a display and knocking boxes everywhere. The mom with the toddler stared at me like I was insane. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I abandoned my cart and ran out of the store to my car, checking behind me the whole way. Once inside with the doors locked, I called Detective Hilda. She sent an officer to the store who checked the security footage. The cameras didn't cover the exact spot where I was standing. Of course they fucking didn't. The officer retrieved the bag though. Inside was a jewelry box, and inside that was my engagement ring, the one I'd returned to Owen months ago. Wrapped around it was a small note that just said, "Soon." The police are taking it seriously, but what can they really do? They still can't find him. They've put extra patrols around my new building, but we all know that's just security theater. If Owen found me at a random grocery store, he knows where I live. I haven't left my apartment since. Had food delivered, but made them leave it at the lobby desk. I keep the curtains closed, lights off. I'm typing this from my closet because it's the only place I feel even remotely safe right now. Detective called this morning. They found something new when they did another sweep of Owen's house. A journal, pages and pages of detailed plans, different scenarios for reclaiming me, as he put it, backup plans for if I resisted. Some of the pages had dried bloodstains on them. They're testing to see if it's human blood. The detective wouldn't tell me everything that was in it, said it would only upset me more, but her voice changed when she talked about it, like she was disturbed. And this woman deals with horrific shit every day. I can't sleep, can't eat. One entry in the journal they did tell me about, Owen wrote that if he couldn't have me in this life, he'd take me to the next one. Detective Hilda says they're treating this as a credible threat of murder-suicide now. I don't know what to do. I can't live like this, jumping at shadows, waiting for him to find me again. But I also can't let him win by completely destroying my life. I refuse to be just another statistic. Another woman killed by a man who thought he owned her. Last update. It's been almost a month since my last update. I don't even know where to start. My hands are shaking as I type this, but I need to get it all out. Partly for myself, partly because so many of you have checked in and deserve to know what happened, and partly because maybe this will help someone else recognize the warning signs before things go this far. After finding that gift bag in my shopping cart, I basically became a prisoner in my own apartment. I worked remotely, had all groceries and necessities delivered, and only left for absolute emergencies, always with someone accompanying me. Detective Hilda called with updates every few days, but it was always the same. No sign of Owen, no new leads. They were monitoring his bank accounts, social media, family members' homes, but nothing. It was like he had become a ghost, one that was haunting only me. Then came the flowers, delivered to my work, not my apartment, my actual office building. Red roses with a card that said, "Missing you more each day." I hadn't even been to the office in weeks, and I definitely hadn't told anyone there my new home address. My boss called me about them, and I nearly threw up when she described them. How the fuck did he know where I worked? I called Detective immediately. She sent someone to review the security footage from my office building, but the delivery was made by a regular florist delivery person who had no idea who had placed the order. It had been paid for with a prepaid credit card purchased with cash at a convenience store 2 towns over. The breaking point came a week later. I was video chatting with my mom when my phone dinged with an email notification. It was from an email address I didn't recognize, but the subject line made my blood freeze. Our wedding photos. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a series of photoshopped images, my face edited onto wedding photos with Owen, me in a wedding dress standing next to him at an altar, us cutting cake together, dancing. But my eyes were closed in every single picture, like I was dead. It was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. The last image wasn't photoshopped. It was a picture of me, asleep on my air mattress, taken through my bedroom window. From that morning, he knew where I lived. I completely lost it. Full-blown panic attack. My mom heard me screaming through the still open video chat and called 911 from Indiana. I was hyperventilating so hard I couldn't even explain what was happening when the police arrived, just shoved my phone at them. They did a sweep of the building and surrounding area but found nothing. Detective arrived an hour later with news. They had tracked the email to a public library computer about 20 minutes away. They were reviewing security footage now. I couldn't stay there anymore. Not for another minute. I threw some essentials in a bag and went to a hotel under a fake name, paid in cash. Didn't tell anyone where I was except Detective Hilda. Not even Janet or my parents. I was terrified that Owen might be monitoring their communications somehow. 3 days into my hotel stay, Detective Hilda called with the news I had been both dreading and hoping for. They had identified Owen on the library's security footage. He looked different. He'd shaved his head and grown a beard, but it was definitely him. They now had proof he was still in the area and actively stalking me. They issued a formal arrest warrant and assured me they would find him soon. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to a soft scratching sound at my hotel room door. Not knocking, not someone trying the handle, just scratching, like fingernails on wood. I froze, not even breathing, straining to listen. The scratching stopped, then started again, more insistent this time. I silently reached for my phone and texted Hilda, who had given me her personal number for emergencies. Then I grabbed the lamp from the bedside table, the heaviest object in reach, and stood pressed against the wall next to the door, heart pounding so loud I was sure whoever was outside could hear it. The scratching stopped again. Then came a whisper, so quiet I almost thought I imagined it. "I know you're in there, babe. Just want to talk." Owen's voice. I pressed my hand over my mouth to stop from making any sound, tears streaming down my face. The handle turned slowly, but the deadbolt held. Then came a harder sound. Not scratching anymore, but something metal against the lock. He was trying to pick it or force it. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he whispered. "We belong together. You know that. All this running away is just delaying the inevitable." My phone vibrated. A text from Hilda saying police were on their way, to stay quiet and not engage. Easy for her to fucking say when she wasn't trapped in a room with a psycho trying to break in. Suddenly he started shouting, demanding I open the door. All pretense of calm gone. He started pounding, screaming that he knew I was in there, that I couldn't hide, that he would always find me. I was shaking so hard I could barely stand, clutching the lamp, ready to swing it if he got through. It felt like hours, but was probably only minutes before I heard it. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Owen heard them too. The pounding stopped, then footsteps, running away down the hall. I stayed frozen in place until I heard multiple sets of footsteps approaching, then Detective Hilda's voice calling my name. Only then did I drop the lamp and slide down the wall to the floor, completely numb. They missed him. By fecking minutes. Security cameras showed him running down the emergency stairs and out a side exit just as the first police car pulled into the parking lot. But now they had fresh footage, confirmation he was still in town, and evidence of him attempting to break into my room. The hunt intensified. Detective insisted I couldn't stay at the hotel. It wasn't safe now that Owen knew where I was. She suggested a safe house, but I told her to use me as bait. He was going to keep finding me wherever I go, so we might as well choose where and when. Hilda was skeptical at first, but after consulting with her superiors, they agreed it might be the only way to catch him quickly before he escalated further. They set up a sting operation using my apartment. I would appear to return home, making it look like I thought it was safe again. In reality, plainclothes officers would be stationed inside and around the building, waiting. It took 3 days. 3 days of me going through the motions of normal life, walking to a nearby coffee shop each morning, stopping at the corner store, making it look like I was settling back into a routine, all while wearing a concealed panic button and knowing officers were watching my every move. On the 4th day, it happened. I was alone in the apartment, except for 2 officers hidden in the spare bedroom and bathroom, and more stationed throughout the building. I was sitting on the couch watching Netflix, trying to look relaxed, despite feeling like I might throw up from anxiety. The first sign was so subtle I almost missed it. The doorknob turning slowly, testing if it was locked. It was, but that wouldn't stop him for long. I pressed the panic button clipped to my waistband, alerting the officers that he was here. I heard a key in the lock. A fucking key. He must have made a copy back when we were together and kept it all this time. The door swung open, and there he was. I barely recognized him. The shaved head and beard changed his appearance. He was carrying a duffel bag in one hand. I didn't want to know what was in it. He greeted me, asking if I missed him. Every rehearsed line I'd practiced flew out of my head. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him, not taking his eyes off me. He started talking about how difficult I'd been to pin down. He said he always knew I'd come back here eventually, calling us creatures of habit. I finally managed to ask what he wanted. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. He went on about wanting what was his, wanting his life back. The life I destroyed when I decided to throw away 5 years like it meant nothing. He took a step closer. I fought the urge to back away. He continued in that eerily calm voice, saying he realized while watching me these past weeks that I wouldn't come back willingly. I was too stubborn, too proud, so he had to adjust his plans. He reached for the duffel bag, and my heart nearly stopped. Where the fuck were the police? Why weren't they bursting in? He unzipped the bag and started talking about us leaving together, going somewhere new, starting fresh, and if I wouldn't be his wife in this life. He pulled out a gun and I felt the room tilt sideways. He said we'd be together in the next one. Just as he raised the gun, the bathroom door burst open. An officer shouted for him to drop the weapon, gun drawn. Owen's face twisted with rage. He spun toward me, gun still in hand, screaming that I set him up, calling me a fucking bitch. Everything happened so fast. Owen lunging toward me, multiple officers shouting, the deafening sound of gunshots. I dropped to the floor, covering my head. When I looked up, Owen was on the ground. He'd been shot in the shoulder and leg. Not fatal, but enough to incapacitate him. As they dragged him up, he spat that he'd find me again, that he always finds what's his. Those were the last words I heard him say before they took him away. The aftermath has been complicated. Owen was charged with attempted murder, stalking, breaking and entering, and a host of other crimes. He's being held without bail pending trial. The evidence against him is overwhelming. The journal, the photos, the emails, the security footage, the gun. He's facing decades in prison. I should feel relieved. I should feel safe, but I don't. Not completely. I keep having nightmares about him escaping, finding me again. My therapist says that's normal. That trauma doesn't just disappear because the threat is gone. I moved again to a different city this time, started a new job, changed my name legally, deleted all my social media, cut ties with anyone who knew both me and Owen. It feels extreme, but necessary. The prosecutor warned me that Owen had been writing letters from jail, not to me directly, which would violate the restraining order, but to his parents and friends. Letters that talk about when he gets out and finishing what he started. I'm writing this from my new apartment, in my new city, under my new name. I'm not hiding anymore, just starting over. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that you never really know someone. The man I loved for 5 years, planned to marry, share a life with. He was capable of this level of obsession, this violent, this evil. Check in on your friends who've recently left relationships, especially if their ex seemed too calm about the breakup. Trust your instincts when someone's behavior feels off. Document everything. And please, please take threats seriously, even veiled ones. The red flags I ignored nearly cost me my life. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in months, I believe I have one. And Owen won't be part of it.